So, when we're talking about transforming the walls in a commercial space, the conversation has totally shifted. It's not just about pretty pictures anymore. Now it's all about operational efficiency. For anyone managing a facility or a brand, the real trick is to make a huge impact without causing a huge disruption. So today, we're going to break down the two leading methods out there, the classic vinyl wrap versus the more modern direct-to-wall printing. We're going to find out which one is really built for the demands of today's business world.
But before we even get into comparing the tech, let's talk about the real problem here. In a commercial setting, putting up new wall graphics isn't just a decorating project, it's an operational event. Every single hour that a space is closed off, whether it's a hospital wing or a corporate lobby, it's costing money. So the real question isn't just how good does the final image look, it's what's the true cost of the process to get there. And that's really the heart of it. Doesn't matter if you manage a hospital, an office building, or a university campus. Downtime is never just a minor inconvenience. It's a direct hit to your bottom line, to safety, and to the whole user experience. That's exactly why the speed and efficiency of any refresh project isn't just some small detail. It's a major strategic priority. This right here is the #1 headache for any facility manager. You've constantly got to keep the environment looking fresh and on brand. But the old school way of doing things, well, it often feels like you're kicking off a mini construction project, right? The real goal, the holy grail really, is to get that amazing transformation without all the disruption. Okay, so how do we actually pull off this transformation without all the usual chaos? Well, the market really gives us two very different ways to go. You've got the established traditional method, and then you have this modern technology that was basically engineered from the ground up to minimize disruption. Let's break them both down.
So on one hand, you have vinyl wall wraps. It's his whole multi-step dance. Print it off-site, ship it, and then meticulously install it panel by panel. Then, on the other hand, you have direct-to-wall printing. This is a much more streamlined approach, where a mobile printer literally applies the image directly onto the wall, all in one go. The end result might look similar, but believe me, how you get there is worlds apart.
And that brings us to our first huge point of comparison, speed. Now, to be clear, I'm not just talking about how many hours someone is on site. The real speed test covers the entire process, from the very first bit of prep all the way to that final finished wall. The typical vinyl process, well, it's a complicated chain of events. It starts with someone taking super precise measurements, then it goes to an off-site shop for fabrication and curing. Then it has to be shipped. And then you're looking at a multi-day installation. Every single one of those handoffs, from the printer to the shipping company to the installer, adds another variable, another chance for delays or mistakes. Now, let's contrast that with the direct-to-wall process. This is all about collapsing that complex supply chain. After a quick site check and getting the digital file ready, the installation is just a single, continuous session on site. You've basically eliminated the entire fabrication and shipping process. It's all replaced by one super efficient visit. And the result of all that efficiency? It's a total game changer. Most standard commercial installations are done in under 5 hours, and that includes setup, the actual printing, and cleanup. Just think about that. A major transformation of a space can happen within a single work shift or completely after hours. You get to that ultimate goal, zero disruption to your business. But installation speed is only half the picture. The long-term performance and the total cost of ownership are just as important. So how do these two options really stack up over time, especially in a high-traffic area? Let's talk durability. Okay, the biggest difference when you talk about durability comes down to one thing: seams. Vinyl has to have seams every 4 to 5 feet, and every single seam is a potential point of failure. It's a place for dust to collect, for edges to start peeling up, for damage to happen. Direct-to-wall printing, on the other hand, creates a completely seamless image that's integrated with the wall. This makes it way more durable, a breeze to clean, and it also makes the end-of-life process so much simpler. As you can see, for one, you just paint over it. For the other, you're looking at a huge, labor-intensive job that could even damage the wall underneath. And this all leads to a really crucial idea: the total cost of ownership. It's about looking way beyond that initial price tag. When you get rid of material and shipping costs, when you cut down on-site labor hours, and you minimize the need for future repairs and complicated removal, well, the direct-to-the-wall process starts to offer some pretty compelling long-term value. So when we put all these pieces together, speed, durability, and total cost, the path to making a truly expert choice becomes pretty clear. The source material really nails it with this quote. The comparison is ultimately a comparison of process risk. And that is the key takeaway. You're not just picking a product, you're picking an entire operational process. And the main goal of any good process should be to minimize risk. The risk of delays, of going over budget, and of things just plain failing. This is where you see this huge shift in thinking. Direct-to-wall printing isn't just another product. It's a full-on execution system. It's engineered from the start for a predictable, reliable result every single time. For managers who are looking after multiple locations or who are on a super tight deadline, that level of certainty is everything. That's the real value.
All right, so we've covered the big strategic why. Now let's get into the tactical when. What are the specific things about a project that make direct-to-wall printing the absolute best choice?
You should think of direct-to-wall as your go-to solution anytime minimizing downtime is absolutely non-negotiable. It's also the obvious choice for things like photos or complex gradients where scenes would just completely ruin the look. And this is a big one. For large-scale rollouts across a bunch of buildings, or if you're working with tricky surfaces like brick or concrete, the system's adaptability and reliability are just unmatched. So the takeaway here is really clear. When you look at this through the lens of a commercial operation, the advantages are just decisive. For any project that demands speed, a flawless look, long-term durability, and reliable scalability, direct-to-wall printing really does emerge as the superior modern solution.
And that really leaves us with one final critical question for you to think about. Is your next mural going to be a complex construction project, or is it going to be a seamless operational event? Because the technology you choose is what will define that experience and ultimately the outcome.